Yeah, welcome back to the channel. I want to follow up on Jblu. Jblu, I called it out around $12 and we made some good gains on it. We bought, a couple shares in the previous video around $12. We sold it up around 12.75. And just looking at the last 5 days that we were talking about it, Fidelity, the charts don't do that good on, there we go. So you can see that, I'm trying to bring up maybe the 10-day will show it. So we were calling out the bottom around $12. We were buying, went down as low as 11.77, then went back up to 12.7. So now I sold my shares and I was going to try to hold them for 13 or 14, but I don't trust it. And the reason I'm saying this is because if you look at the 6 month, this is the 6 month chart. With all these lines, it gets a little confusing, but the red is the 9 EMA, the orange is the 20 EMA, and the 200 green EMA. So this is the 200 EMA, and then you have the 9 in red, and then you have the yellow right here. So the reason that I'm very cautious is because this is the 9 EMA, and the reason I liked JetBlue in the first place is because the bottom was over here around this 11.5 range. So I figured $12 was a good area to get in. We were off by like, 20, 23 cents, no big deal. And people were buying it. They were respecting these levels. And I've noticed when you trade that I love using the 9, 20, and the 50 EMA. But if you look, it's testing this 9 EMA right here at 12.8. And if it fails, it's just going to get rejected. So look right here, like in the past where it went up to the 9 and it failed, went back down. It did break through, but it failed at first, then went through. And then here's a resistance of it. Here is where it broke through the 9. And now it broke again, and then it tested it and it broke through. So I don't know if it's going to get through, but I'm just thinking the overall market conditions just don't look positive. When you look at the overall, the market's selling off. So we had a nice trade on JetBlue. Me and one of my buddies, we had calls on it. We had shares on it. So we made some profit on it, which is nice. But it's really just about respecting these 9 EMA in the red, the 20 EMA in the orange, and the 200 EMA. Because these are now resistance points because it's trading below it. So that's it for JetBlue. But now moving forward, we're going to start talking about other trades because I think we're potentially have some opportunities just trading the overall NASDAQ. And if you look at the last 6 months, and we'll go over the last 5 days because that was crucial. But right now it's trading below your 920 and your 200 EMA. And I am hoping that it's going to retest these lows down at 320. Because to me, that's going to be a loading zone. But let's just look at the last 5 days because it was really tricky. The market was actually doing really well yesterday and was green. So 2 days ago, it was trading at 339. And I didn't really make much, to be honest. I think I made like 500. I traded 1Q. And I made some money on it, which was nice, but not as much as I wanted to. But QQQ, the main NASDAQ ETF, went all the way from 340 up to 348. And then in one day, just to put it more in perspective, which is today, all it did was sell off. And the reason that I, didn't hold any shares and I was like, oh, is this the reversal? Did I miss the bottom? If you look at the volume was just really low on this rise up compared to if you just look at it over like the 1 month period. And it's this really does not do justice for anybody, but the volume overall on the day was lower yesterday. So I just had a feeling it was like a bull trap. It could just potentially be that people don't want to hold over the weekend. And that's totally fair. So, I bought a few shares of TQQ to hold. I bought them. This is the triple leverage. Nothing crazy, not a big position at all, not what I normally do. Just to have some skin in the game, but I bought it like 7:58 p.m. at like 46.7 is where I have shares. But overall, when we look at the QQQ, I definitely think there is potential to just look at the big picture. And yes, you could get a reversal, but I think we should give it more time because when we're looking at the 6 month RSI, it's at 41. And we want to buy when it's down here. Like look right here, boom, when it was like 23 is your RSI right here. And then it blasted up from 336 all the way up to 370. So we're waiting for that to happen, hopefully. So I hope we get another sell-off down to at least 320, 325. I mean, I'll still try to day trade it in the meantime, but to actually take a position that you're going to hold, I want to see it where the RSI is super low on like a 6-month and on the 5-minute RSI in the actual day. So QQQ definitely offers some opportunity. Definitely interesting play, potentially. And here's one stock that I completely died on. I bought a few shares in them back in the day, like at like $32. I was making videos on them. And I'm going to apologize if anybody took that buy because I still have shares. I didn't take the loss. And I'm like, I mean, good thing I only did like a couple shares. It wasn't really a big deal. And as you know, I'm up on the year right now, which is good. I think right now we're up 11,243 bucks. So we're doing good. So not a big deal. But I'm down like I think like 250 on Dkng because maybe we should add, I guess, at these levels. I'm not sure, to be honest, because I'm down like 50% on Dkng. But it's only 250 bucks, so it doesn't matter. At least to me, like when I'm up like 11,000, I'm okay with that. It's not a big deal. But what's coming into play and what's really interesting is Twitter. Twitter was supposed to be like Elon Musk was going to buy them. He bought 9% of the shares, and then you had this monster run up in the last 10 days. This does not do it justice. Let's do a month. Here we go. In the last month, it went all the way from $30 all the way up to 54, back down to 45 because now Elon Musk is saying he might be out of the deal. And I just got this hunch, and call me crazy, but I just got this hunch that if Elon Musk really wants a social media platform, DWAC could potentially be bought out by Elon Musk, and then we're gonna see DWAC go up to like 170 again. So it's definitely something to think about. I'm really watching DWAC now because now that Elon Musk wants to get into the social media platform, he wants to have a voice or whatever it is. I mean, DWAC's trading 31 on the RSI right now at $50. I mean, this is high risk, but just really thinking about what he could potentially do next for his move. But my main focus, as usual, because when you look at the amount of money that I've made so far, which is, it's not like great, like people do much better than me, but focus on like what you make money on. It's me trading the NASDAQ, 1Q and TQQ right here. It's what I trade the best. And sometimes when I trade the individual stocks, I lose. As you can see, I have some red over here. So I try to focus mainly on just the NASDAQ because that's what I'm best trading at. But I do try to dabble into the occasional stocks as well, like just individual. But if you look here, I don't know, I'm looking at this 320 range up to 330 potentially, and it's definitely something to think about. But we just got to be careful with everything that's going on in the market, and people don't want to hold overnight. So I think the market just went really sour today, just super red. But who really knows? Nobody knows what they're trying to do. But look at this, all the way down from 348 down to 337. And if you just look at the last 10 days, the NASDAQ QQQ was at 368. So all the way at this row right here, 368, all the way down to 337. I mean, come on. It's just crazy how much this thing moves. If you can get the swings right, you can make some really good money, but it's definitely difficult, obviously. But that's what I wanted to bring up. We have that. Tesla, I think if Tesla can break 975, then it's going to be a great short opportunity. But as you can see, it's holding this 980 level. And the only time that it was there, it was here, around like 982, and it shot back up above 1,000. So let's go 2 days ago, because that's where you can actually see it. Yeah, so right here, this is where it was testing this level. And you can see it if you just go out like 1 month from now. You can see there was a previous support level right here. Yep, right at this area. And then it just blasted back up. So if these companies start to go down, like Tesla, Amazon, Amazon's about to break 3,000 again. If that breaks 3,000, it's going to head down to 2,700. So as you can see, there's big weakness in these companies right now. Anything that's technology, just with the inflation going on. But this gives us buying opportunities if you're willing to buy and you're willing to hold and just wait for the gains. And Amazon's always a play that you can always just play one share and just trade it 3-4 points up and just wait for it, and it's good, nice $300-$400. And then the last one that I'm going to be talking about is just Google. Google is a play that if we can get some bigger gains on the year, I'll definitely buy some shares of Google, but it's just so hard because they're so expensive. But they're going to split this year. So Google's trading below its 200 EMA, 9 EMA, and 20 EMA. So I think this $2,500 level is really critical, and if it breaks that, let's just see if we can find a support level, to be honest. Yeah, I have no idea, because if you look at it, we can draw a support line, but who really knows where it's going to be? Maybe here. Yeah, it looks like 2,500 could be a level potentially. So it's definitely something to think about. But who really knows, to be honest? Because if it breaks that level, your next level is probably 2350. Let me see. Yeah, I would say around this area. It looks like 2340, 2360. But when it splits and it's going to be $100, $150 a share, that's going to be something that would be worth playing. But at $2,500 a share, you need so much capital to make any money on these companies. So that's why I like to just trade Qqq, the Tqqq, and just focus on this. I focus on Qqq, and then I make my trades in the Tqqq or SQQ, the inverse of the NASDAQ, or the 3-time leverage long position on it. And then one other stock that I was looking at that I think is a potential play. So I don't really want to trade Twitter, but I will trade FNGU, which is a triple leveraged, and this holds only 10 companies in this sector, and it's like Google, Twitter. It's 10% of Google, 10% owned the composition of Twitter, 10% of Alibaba, and like there's a couple of more companies into it. It's definitely something to think about because this gives really good spreads and it's super cheap. You can die on it because if you look at it, I mean, if you bought here around 23, it went up to like 50 and then back down to 16. So you just got to be really careful with these types of triple leverage. But that's definitely something else I'm looking into. And there's always Lucid too that you could potentially jump into. But right now it's just such a risky time. Everything's sold off and who really knows if it's actually going to come back at this point. But that's all I got for you. I don't really have entries for Lucid because if I'm going to buy Lucid, I know all the people that love Lucid are definitely not going to be happy with me saying this, but Lucid, honestly, if I'm going to take a position, it's going to be at $16, $17. And the reason I'm getting that, I'm not just making up that number. The reason I'm getting that number is, let me just show you on the actual support. It's right here. I should use Webull when I make these videos because Fidelity is just so bad with their charts. Here we go. So you can see right around here would be their support level. It's $17. So that's where I'm going to be looking to make an entry on Lucid if they sell off. And look, I'm using the year chart to find this because they haven't broken these new lows in so long, but they're right there. They trade like every NASDAQ, every technology company, any growth company is just trading below their 200 EMA. So you have to really go out in time to see where they're at. Because this company could go back to $10. Let's be realistic here. Especially if they're not producing numbers. That's pretty much all I got for you. Just showing you what I'm looking at. But mainly QQQ is what we got to focus on. Because that's where I feel like I make the most money. But we're at some dangerous levels here. Because if QQQ doesn't... If it dies here and it breaks 320, personally, if it goes, let's say it's at 320 and it dies from here, your next support level is going to be around 300 flat. That'll definitely give you a bounce 300. And then, I mean, something's got to be going on wrong in the world here if this happens, because then you'll be at, what is that, 260. 260. So you got a bounce at 320 potentially. You got a bounce at 300. And then you got to bounce at 260. So that's where I'm looking at with the NASDAQ. But we're going to keep day trading in the meantime, obviously. But I think these are all buying opportunities. Because in the long term, the market just goes up, as you can see. If you just look at like the max of QQQ, I mean, look at that. It's amazing. If you just were buying at these levels below $100. So something to keep in mind, just dollar cost average into it if that's what you want to do.